What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now, I want to give you an update on what's happening with Rndr because its price does seem to be as if it's approaching a point in time in which it could be a really solid buying opportunity. So today we're going to talk about exactly what's happening, what I'm doing, and what I'm preparing for, and much more. So with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. So looking at Rndr here, what we can see is that its price is still pretty damn down from this high that we put in, right around $13.87. I mean, the total pullback looking about 54%. Current pullback sitting right around 42%, rather sizable if you do ask me. But realistically, if we look at this thing in the grand scheme of things, this is just another healthy cool down and pullback that we're seeing, just like we saw back here, just like we saw back here, and much more, right? I don't think this is derailing the excitement, derailing the hype. I think that although we did need to see this cool down, that at some point we will inevitably find the higher low, whether it's over here, whether it's here, whether it was right here, and then eventually continue upwards to what I think could be upwards, $18, $19, $20 or so. And so with that in mind, having an understanding that where we are right now isn't necessarily the best, right? Because we are down, say, 40 to 50% from these highs. There is still some opportunity to the upside. Let's talk a little bit about what is happening right now, because it does seem as if, again, this could be a decent time to start looking to add to that Rndr bag. Now, the reason that I do believe this, okay, is that what we're seeing in the grand scheme of things is still, again, rather healthy. Oftentimes what I pay attention to and what I look for is whether or not cryptos are capable of recovering during times like these. And I mean, if you look at the history of Rndr, it's seen this over and over and over again. I mean, we can say from right here to right here, 58% pullback before it pumped. We can say from right here to right here, this was a 40% pullback before it pumped. Right here to here, bigger pullback, 60% before it pumped. We can have right here to here, again, boom, a 41% pullback and then it pumped. Even this little thing right here, which doesn't look like that much, it was still pretty damn substantial at about a 29% pullback and then it pumped. And so realistically, this isn't anything new for Rndr. It has eaten these dips for breakfast on a rather consistent basis for the last almost 2 years now, okay? And so clearly knowing that it's done it historically, I have no reason to believe that we are not going to see something similar happen in, the next couple weeks, if not maybe the next couple months on the longer side of things. Now, I do believe that we are starting to get towards the bottom of this one right here. Now, I'm not talking about the bottom in terms of time. I'm talking about the bottom in terms of price. What I mean by that is Rndr could continue this run like this into the summertime, okay? It could continue downwards. It could continue sideways. It could continue to stay rather ugly for another few weeks, if not, again, another few months. And the reason being is because the general crypto market just doesn't usually do the best during summertime, right? June, July, and August, very boring months in crypto. They never really go that well. And if you just look at the history, many altcoins also perform similarly in the sense that they're just very boring. And so the reality here is that, again, Rndr could possibly go down like this or stay sideways like this for another few months. But in terms of price, in terms of the depth of this pullback, I definitely do personally believe that we are getting towards the bottom side of this thing. One of the main reasons to why I am believing that is quite simply just the recovery which we're seeing. Once you get to a point in these little pullbacks, as you can see like here, for example, that you start to get these wicks, that you start to see support actually holding. You're retesting previous points of resistance. You're hitting these previous points of liquidity. You're seeing your Fibonacci levels really start to hold up. You're seeing indicators starting to really go off on some of your bigger time frames. Look on the 4-hour charts. Look at what HGalgo is doing. HGalgo is finally starting to say, look, these are decent buying opportunities in this little range in which we're in right now. Once you see all of these things happen, historically, we start to see growth. I mean, look at history. Look what we saw back here. We started to see the wicks forming. We started to see the bull stepping in. We started to see HGalgo flashing that it was a buying opportunity. Boom, we start to move upwards. Same thing here. Boom, we move upwards. Same thing here. Boom, we move upwards. Same thing here. Boom, we move upwards. And so no, although it doesn't guarantee that we're going to immediately go up, it just quite simply says that this could be a damn good time to start looking to possibly dollar cost average and add to that bag, expecting that at some point we will get that inevitable growth to the upside. And in terms of price, I think the bottom is pretty damn close, right? I think the lowest we could possibly see this thing go is around $5.80. But at the end of the day, in terms of time, you never really can tell. Hopefully we have a little bit of time to get those DCAs in around this little range before, again, hopefully we see that move to the upside. Now, in my personal opinion, like I said, I think that this thing could possibly go lower, but where we are right now is a pretty damn good point of support, and it is a decent sized chance that it holds us up here, okay? You can see that we have this macro Fibonacci from this swing low all the way up to this swing high that holds up between $8.17 and $7.03. This little zone is going to try very, very hard to hold the price up, and it has a decent chance at succeeding. If it succeeds, obviously we'll be in a spot where we can look for a continuation. The issue is that if it does fail to hold some support here, the likelihood is that we're not only just going to break down, but we're probably going to break back down towards this range low and back towards this key level of liquidity, and that could be Rndr falling anywhere, but back towards $5.80 to $5.50 to the downside. And so yes, although I am bullish, and although I do think that we are getting towards a point in time where it is a good buying opportunity, I wouldn't necessarily be going ape shit. I wouldn't just be buying every single or spending every single dollar that I have, buying as much as I possibly can. I'd probably be rather take it slow, take it steady, because again, if we do see Rndr venturing down towards some of these lower levels, it's not off the table that we could see a possible continuation of another like 15 to 20 to 25% to the downside before we really start to look to bottom out. Okay, and so overall, like I mentioned before, my general thesis here is that we are getting towards a point in time where we would see this thing bottom out pretty soon, but there could be a little bit more room left to go if we do lose this key zone of support. So although I am going to start dollar cost averaging, I'm not going to go too crazy just yet. I am just going to start to get the ball rolling. So my overall averaging in dollar cost averaging has started now, but again, I am taking a little bit of responsibility with the amount of risk in which I am taking. So that's my general update of where we are with Rndr right now. I am pretty happy with it. I think that it's doing very well in terms of its price holding up, continuing this momentum, and giving the bulls the rewards that they've been looking for the last few years. So of course, I will continue to update you. I'd love to bring you more content about Rndr going forward. If you do enjoy this content, you could always let me know by simply just smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. And of course, I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.